Welcome to Plains Indians Wars, Solitaire Variant II, Scenario 7, Custer's Revenge. So basically what you're going to have is the reenactment of the Sioux Campaign of 1876. You have three converging U.S. columns on the Black Hills. Crook's column, Gibbon's column, and Terry's column led by Custer. Here are the Black Hills. Now the setup is you just use the Northern Plains Indian tribe cubes, put one in each of the 12 regions, add 7 more to the Black Hills for a total of 8. Region limit, cube limit is 8. The exception is if you have two or more U.S. converging columns in the Black Hills, that may exceed it. You also will use an orange die, even though the Southern Plains tribe are not in the game. This will be added to the engagement, any engagements in the Black Hills, and represents the intensity of the fighting for the sacred Black Hills. Now, as far as the cavalry columns, the black disc represents the commanders, individual commanders. The purple, each column represents the Indian scouts on the side of the U.S. cavalry. And then in Gibbons, the blue cubes, using the blue dice, the brown cubes under Crook's column, also using the blue dice, and the white cubes in Terry's, or we're going to start calling it Custer's column, also using the blue dice. These represent the actual individual cavalry companies per se. And just for we don't have enough dice, but just for the sake of these converging columns, we'll use those. All right, so battles conducted normally, ambushes conducted normally. As the solitaire player plays the Indian role, and they will draw up to 3 cards from the green deck. And of course, the rules, now this is an abnormal situation, is you have to play at least 1 war party card. And we don't have a war party card. You can play up to 2 event cards. So one of these is going to have to play as a war party card, which means you're going to ignore the event and you're going to play it as you can activate 2 regions, and each of those can move up to 2 spaces. You're not going to receive any new placements. So we'll get to that when we do it. There are 4 discs that are put in the draw bag, or in this case we'll use a cup, and that's going to be the Northern Plains faction. And we will have, let's see here, we're going to have blue for Gibbons, brown representing Crook's column, and white representing Custer's column. And we're going to draw those out, and the completion of all 4 of those drawn and played will be completion of 1 turn. There will be a total of 5 turns in this mini scenario, and we'll keep track of that by using an orange cube on this victory point schedule. We use it as a turn track. And when we complete 5 complete turns, that's going to be it. So how does the AI work? The AI represents the U.S. cavalry columns. Well, each time you draw this, they will move into a pre-scripted region. So Crooks is going to move here, then here, then here, into the Black Hills. Gibbons is going to move here, here, into the Black Hills from the northern route. And Custer is going to come out of this shaded area into region N11 and into the Black Hills this way. So Custer's the shortest. We should have a fight here. Maybe the Little Bighorn, maybe Custer gets annihilated historically. We'll have some sort of rosebud battle along the way here. And then Gibbons, the longest, is usually, not necessarily, but usually the last to arrive on the battlefield, and it may be all over by that time. Victory conditions are at the end of any 1 complete disc draw. All 4 discs are drawn and played. If there's a U.S. cavalry force, any cube, in the Black Hills, then the AI U.S. forces win. The Plains Indians win at the end of turn 5 if they prevent that. Okay, let's get on. Let's go ahead and do a draw disc, and we'll kind of explain the rules as we go. Mix these up, blindly draw, and we draw crooks, brown. Now, we're not going to use purple, black, or orange disc in this scenario, just those four. So basically, all you do is you move crooks column up one. If there's coexistence with a green cube, an engagement or an ambush takes place. In this case, it'll be an ambush followed by an engagement. So let's roll one green die, and it's a hit. So we remove one of Crook's cubes. There are no reinforcements. There are no replacements for the USAI columns. Just take them out the game. I like to put them in the cavalry. As far as casualties go for the Northern Plains tribe, put them in the casualty box. It will take an activation, a movement activation, to move them to the casualty box. And you can draw them out of there using War Party cards. So now that we conducted the ambush as per normal base game rules, we will conduct an engagement. There will be 2 blue dice because the brown cubes represent the cavalry forces. We will use, for the commander who is in black, we will use 1 brown dice, the commander, and we'll use 1 purple die because there's 1 purple scout. And we will use 1 green cube. Get my dice tray, roll these guys. Now what's in effect are treaties, if both sides roll treaties. Blanks are in effect not for the Indian players. The Plains Indians can never exercise a blank retreat, but I'm sorry, I am completely sorry, I'm getting mixed up with other game. The U.S. forces can never exercise a blank die retreat. The human player, who's the solitaire player, can and may if it survives. So this is a peace treaty, and you need both sides to roll a peace treaty, and that didn't happen, so that won't take place. We'll get 2 hits by the U.S. player on the sole Indian player, and that is removed to the casualty box. And that's it for brown. We're going to blindly draw another disc. It is Gibbons blue, and they will move in this direction. By the way, these arrows do not come with the Plains Indian War game. I picked them out of Mike Holt's game, A Bridge Too Far, if you were interested. Okay, so Gibbons is going to move here in this territory. Now, one of the rules is when you get to the Indian players, they can only maneuver within green area and purple area. The exception is they cannot go into a starting AI location. So the Plains Indians cannot fight in this area. They cannot go into the south. They cannot go in here, for example, and they cannot go into Custer's starting area. They cannot go into Canada. They cannot go into Rockies. They cannot go into Southern Plains area. So we're sort of limited, but we're going to kind of focus in on the Black Hills. So there's no Indian forces here, so nothing will take place. No activity, no engagement, no ambush. So we're going to move on to the next disc draw. And it is going to be Custer's column. So they're going to move here in this pre-scripted route from the shaded area to what's been labeled N11. We have 1 green cube. We will conduct an ambush. It is a peace tree, so nothing takes place. And now we roll for the engagements. And we're going to split hits here. There are 2 hits, but for the U.S. player, this is the scout. This is the cavalry forces represented by the white cubes. Retreat is not allowed on the U.S. player's side. Take those out. So basically 1 hit apiece because there's only 1 green cube to remove. Now, where do you remove U.S. forces from? Initially, you go from the cavalry columns first. We'll remove 1 white cube, take it out of the game. Then, if you're ever in a situation where there's a tie, and that would be a situation like this, then you always remove the cavalry first, which could be blue, brown, or white. Then the scout next, and the last cube from the column to be eliminated would be the commander. In this situation, this would represent Custer. So that's the end of that disc draw. And now the last disc is going to be green by default. And we play by normal Plains Engine War rules. We have 3 cards. Let's look at these. Roman node, and these are event cards. You want to play them as best as possible. A lot of the literature is not going to apply in this scenario, so just ignore it. So, for example, any reference to settlers or the Southern Plains, just ignore that and apply the rest as best as you can. So I'll try to explain that as I go. Roman nodes. Add 2 Northern Plain tribe cubes to 1 region. Ignore all retreat and treaty symbols for the remainder of the disc draw. So you use that in attack, that's possible. What about red cloud? You're going to add 3 cubes to 1 region. Settlers only roll 1 die in any game. Well, you would ignore that because settlers aren't in this game. The brown cubes represent Crook's cavalry columns. And Sitting Bull here is play before a war party card. Well, that would be we could do that. We're not playing a war party card, or the cavalry disc. Okay, well, we can't do that. So this is a misprint. Instead of or, this should be and. So you play before a war party card and a cavalry disc. Well, all 3 cavalry discs have been drawn. You have to play it under this interpretation before one of these 3 discs. If it happened to say play after a cavalry disc, you could play it after any one disc. You don't have to wait till they all come out. So we cannot play this, and its effect is add 4 cubes to 1 region. Cavalry must be attacked. So this adds 4. It's interesting, but I do need to play a war party card. I don't have one, so I need to play one of these. And this is the weakest. I think I'm going to play this for its war party effect. Since I do not have a war party, I'm going to activate 2 groups and move them 2 spaces. So let me discard this one, and let me just make sure, yeah, and these other ones I could maybe play red cloud. Make sure I didn't have to play it before. So activate 2 groups. What I want to do is maybe concentrate a little bit. I can't put any more here into this region. Custer's over here, so maybe I want to attack. So let me move 2 ones. Let's see. How about we'll move this would be 1 group, and we'll move this one group, and try to sort of hit and run against Custer here, kind of whittle them down a little bit. So that was that. That was 2 groups, and then now we can maybe play red cloud. It says add 3 cubes to 1 region, and that could be any region, controlled or uncontrolled, within the Northern Plains territory, and ignore the settlers literature. So let's get 3 cubes out of our ready box, and let's put them in here, and we're going to have an engagement. So we are going to use, if I can find it, 2 green dice, 2 blue dice, 1 purple, and 1 brown, and we roll. Okay, so peace treaty, hit, blank, blank. So first thing you do is you take the hits. You ignore these peace treaties because the Plains Indians didn't roll them, so these are in effect. So 2 hits, we're going to remove 2 green cubes, put them in the green casualty box. And then now green can exercise a retreat if it wants these 2. I do not want, I'm trying to whittle them down, trying to get 1 more hit on Custer. So let's roll again. You continue the engagement till one side's eliminated or is forced to retreat by treaty or blank dice. Okay, 2 more, 3 more. Scout got a hit. Hits versus 1. So we're going to remove all 3 green cubes to the casualty box, but we're going to remove 1 white. And not going to say they did their job, but they did part of their job. So now Custer's column's down 2 U.S. companies. So when he gets to the Black Hills, they're going to be weaker. That's what you're trying to do. All right, now that's the end of 1 turn. 4 complete discs draw in place. We're going to move to turn 2. We're going to take the 4 discs, put them back in the cup. We're going to mix them up and blindly draw one, and it happens to be Crook again. So now Crook's going to move on a prescripted route. In the rules, it will tell you you're going to move from N2 to N3. Same thing as last time. There's 1 Northern Plains Q, we're going to have an ambush. It's a treaty. So we ignore that. Now we go into the full engagement. And that fellow rolled a treaty again, but the U.S. forces say no to that, and they're going to take him out with a hit. And that didn't go very well for the Indian forces. So now we'll draw again. And it's blue. I'm covering up the camera with my hand. So Gibbons now is getting closer. He's going to move from NE3, the Northern Enemies Indians Section 3, to NE4 to NE5 here. And we'll move to the next disc because nothing's happening there. It is green. So we should have drawn up at the end of our last turn to 3 cards. We have to play one of the War Party cards. They're both given 2 cubes. They are activating 2 groups, but this one's only moving 1. This one's moving 2 regions. I think I'm going to use this one. And then Sitting Bull says play before a War Party card, so we have to play it before this one. And before, remember, Sitting Bull changed that to and before Cavalry Disc. Well, we do have 1 Cavalry Disc left, so we can play Sitting Bull. Let's play it. Let's get our forces out. And it's basically add 4 cubes to 1 Northern Regent. Going over here, grabbing 4 cubes. And who's the biggest threat? We can try to wipe out Custer. Crook is not the immediate threat. Let's attack. Oh, we can't do it. We can't put him in the northern area. Let's go ahead and put him with Custer again. 4 cubes there. And then we're going to use 2 moons. We're going to grab 2 cubes and activate 2 groups. And they can move up to 2 spaces. So we need to put them in a control area. You can exceed your cube limit initially, but at the end of movement you have to get down to basic. So I think what I'm going to do is maybe I'm going to put them here. This is going to be 1 group I'm going to activate. Try to hit this guy here. I'm worried about these guys limited, but I'm going to take the chance right now and bring another force. Let's go, there's only 2. Let's just go ahead and bring this. Oh, you know what we could do? Well, we'll just go ahead and bring 1 more in. So we're going to have an engagement here and here. Let's go ahead and do Gibbons engagement first. Roll all the dice necessary. We have 1 hit apiece. Ignore the blanks on the U.S. forces. The Plains Indians can exercise this, but I will not. So 1 hit each. Remove 1 green cube, and where do you take the casualty from? The most forces, which is the cavalry. And remove that from the game. All right, and we will continue on with the battle. Another hit by the Indians, but we have 4 hits by the U.S. forces, and that's going to do it. So remove 1 more blue cube, and the rest of the 3 remaining Northern Plains are done. So we succeeded as the Northern Plains in eliminating 2 of Gibbons. We weakened them for their big approach to the Black Hills. We go with the next disc draw, the last one, and it's, oh, no, I'm sorry. Put that back in. We have another engagement we have before we draw the Custer. We know he's coming next because he's the last disc. So let's go ahead and roll for that engagement. And this, folks, is 2 treaties. At that point, you're going to ignore everything else. You're going to ignore those 2 hits. Both sides, Northern Plains and the U.S. forces, wrote peace treaties. In that situation, the Plains Indians never retreat. You simply move back the U.S. column, cavalry column. And that's the end of green. You draw up to 3 cards. We draw the last disc, which is going to be white, and Custer's coming back in, and we're going to have an engagement. Let's continue with that engagement. The Plains Indians have a hit and 2 hits by the U.S. cavalry forces. So we remove 2 green cubes and 1 more white cubes, whittling down the 7th Cavalry over here. Let's go again. I'm not going to retreat. All right. We have U.S. forces have 2 hits. The Plains Indians have 1 hit, so that's going to eliminate the last of the green forces and 1 more cavalry. So now this is the job. This is 7th Cavalry. They're down to 3 companies. Maybe that represents the split and the different fighting. And if they ever reach the Black Hills, it will be a reduced force. It's not going to be fair. It's not going to be a fair fight. That's the end of turn 2, folks. We're going to turn 3. This game only lasts 5 turns. Let's go ahead and put these 4 discs back in the draw cup. Let's kind of mix them up a little bit and blindly draw, and it's blue. So here comes Gibbons with a reduced force into the Black Hills. Now this is a little different. Anytime you have an engagement in the Black Hills, the Plains Indians will get the addition of the orange die to represent the intensity for protecting, fighting in the sacred Black Hills. So let's go ahead and conduct that action. Plains Indians get 1 hit, and that's all I see. 1 more Gibbons company is gone. Gonna roll again. And I will be back. Okay, here we go. Fell on the floor. All right, treaty, blank, 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 and hit. So this is not effective. 1 hit again by the Plains Indians. Eliminates another blue cube, and that's 2 more hits. Not going well for Gibbons' column. We got to the Black Hills first. 2 hits by the Northern Plains and 2 hits by U.S. forces. So 2 more blue cubes are gone and 2 green cubes are gone. At this point, we have to remove 1 blue die, and they have 3 left. They can't do anything about it. They have to fight it out. We roll all blanks. The only thing can happen here is I can retreat. I don't want to do that because effectively maybe giving up the game. So let's go again. And we have 2 hits versus 1 hit. These are opposing treaties, so therefore all action ceases. You ignore these hits, you do not take them. You will retreat Gibbons' depleted cavalry column back, almost a rout, back into this northern enemies of Plains Indians territory. And that's the end of that disc. Draw disc number 2. It's white, Custer, and here they come a little bit late into the Black Hills. We will keep the orange die. We will add a blue die, and we will roll. Looks like 1 hit apiece. Remove 1 green and 1 white cavalry disc. Rolling again. Blanks, 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 blanks. Okay, ignore that treaty. There's only 1 of them. So 2 hits on the Indian forces. The Plains Indians get 1 on the cavalry. So remove 2 green cubes and 1 white cube. Only 1 white cavalry cube left, so we will remove a blue die. And roll again. One hit apiece. That's what it looks like. So we lose 1 green. Now, where do you take it from? First, when they're equal, first the cavalry, second purple scout, and then the commander. So this guy's going, remove this die from the battlefield, and we're going at it again. This is Little Bighorn. 1 hit only, and that's going to come from the purple scout. Remove the purple die. It's just Custer alone, last stand, represented by the brown dice, and nothing happens. Go again, and there's the hit. Custer has been eliminated, and his potential as the Democratic candidate for the presidential election of 1876, as told to us by Stephen Ambrose in his book on Crazy Horse and Custer, is not going to happen. Yes, historically it didn't. And that's the end of the white disc draw. Crook's now going to move. Follow the arrow. Move them up here. Conduct an ambush. It's a treaty. Nothing happens. we will put the orange dice back in the black heels, and we will roll. One hit apiece. Green is gone, and one of Crook's companies is gone. That's the end of this draw, and the last one's going to be green. We already drew up to 3. We have to play one of these. What's the most effective one? Looks like this one. Let's play this one. 3 cubes. Can activate 3 groups and move up to 2 spaces. So we're going to take these 3 guys. Let's go ahead and put them in the black heels to protect the black heels. All right, and as far as activation, the first thing I'm going to do is move all these casualty guys and put them in the ready box so I can have reinforcements for the last 2 turns. Now I can activate up to 3 groups. So let's sort of get these guys back together. Let's bring this one. This will be 1. All right, let's go ahead and let's see if we can move 2 spaces. So let's go 1, 2, and 1, 2. And that's the end of turn 3. We're moving into turn 4. Return the disc. I'm going to draw up. This may end in 4 turns. It's Crook. And they're coming into the black heels. Bring in the orange die. Both green dies. And let's roll. Okay. Looking at this, we have 1 hit apiece. So 1 brown goes and 1 green goes. And the action of Crook is on. 1 hit only. These treaties are on the U.S. side, so it won't count. 1 hit on a brown. And roll again. Notice the orange die is in play. Okay, both sides rolled a treaty. So everything else is ignored, and Crook's column is going to retreat back. They are rebuffed. Go to the next disc draw. It's Gibbons. Here he comes. And we're going to roll both green dice, the orange die, and 1 apiece. Blue representing the blue cavalry, purple representing the scout, and brown representing Gibbons. So here we go. And we have 1 hit apiece. That's what it looks like. Okay, so where do we take it from? The cavalry cube first. And 1 green cube. And we get rid of the blue cavalry die. Going at it. Second round of fighting. Okay, 2 hits. It will eliminate these 2 guys. And Gibbons is gone with his scout, along with his scout. And 1 Northern Plains green tribe. And that's the end of that. We draw up. It's Custer. We could have taken that disc out because he's no longer. And so we go ahead and draw the last one, and it's green. We'll to draw up to 3 cards. Should have done that last time. And we can play one of these. There's no other event cards, so let's play Dull Knife. It gives us the most impact for our money. It says 4 cubes. Activate 3 groups, moving 2 regions. So let's grab 4 cubes. I'm going to put them in the black hills. That gives me 7 over there. And now I'm going to activate 3 groups. Well, let's go ahead and maybe try to whittle this down a little bit. I want to keep, let me put the orange cube back up over here. We'll go 1, 2, and let's go with 1 more, 3. Just trying to get a hit or 2 off of Gibbons' column. We give them up. All right, and now we're going to have our little fight. May not be the best strategy, but I'm going to try it. And these treaties we ignore 2 hits, 1 apiece. So remove 1 green and 1 brown. And they did their job, and they're still fighting. We do not use the orange die because we're not in the black hills. Oh, okay. Well, there goes the 2 hits on the green, and that action is over, but they weaken Crook's column. Okay, and that's the end of turn 4. Draw up to 3 cards, and we move to turn 5. This is the last turn, no matter how you swing it, but we're down to only Crook's column surviving. There it is. Mix them up, and Gibbons is gone. Draw another one. Crook going into the black hills, bringing in bringing in the dice, the orange die, and we roll. And we're each going to roll a peace treaty. So that's going to effectively end the game because Crook retreats out. And this is the last turn. You ignore this hit. And just for example, let's just finish the draw. Green can play the turn. All right, they do have Wovoka event card. It says play before any War Party card. These are War Party cards. And it says add 1 cube to 5 control regions and no engagements are allowed this turn. So we played this, we can add 5. It really doesn't matter, but we couldn't have fought that turn. Let's go ahead and fight if you want. Finish it up. If you play this one, it's 2 cubes. We add them to 1 region. Well, these are 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, so we can place them here. And if we wanted to, we can move in and fight, attack the column. It's not necessary because that's the last draw, the last disc draw after the turn is going to be Custer, and he's long gone. So the game's going to end because it's in of turn 5, and the Black Hills are still in their hands. So we'll declare this a Northern Plains victory. I hope you enjoy, folks, the playthrough.